What's up, guys? It's the JT Report here, back with my 2018 through 2019 NBA season preview. And I'm here today with my 21st ranked team, my own team, my favorite team, the Charlotte Hornets. And it really pains me to continue to put the Hornets out of the playoffs. I know last year I put them in the playoffs. That was a that was a bit of a wrong move there. But the Hornets have really kind of been in an awkward spot. They're really kind of like the Phoenix Suns, where they have good talent, but they're always in between the 10th seed and the 8th seed. They're not really in the race to make the playoffs consistently every year, but if they have, it really depends on the season. And they had some interesting moves this offseason, and we'll go ahead and get into those right now. So looking at what they acquired in the draft, they got Miles Bridges, which he's an interesting player. He does a little bit of everything that you like from a player. He can't really shoot. From what I've seen in Summer League, he's having some struggle shooting, but he's really athletic, great on defense, and he's kind of that undersized forward, kind of like Draymond Green, that you could play him at the small forward or the power forward. So I really think that he's going to be a key piece moving forward, and I'm excited to see what they're going to end up doing with him. And then Devontae Graham. I thought that he would probably be our backup point guard until we signed Tony Parker, which I'll get to in a minute. But Devontae Graham, he looks like a decent player. Nobody's really going to be able to keep up the offensive production as good as Kemba is when he gets put on the bench. We'll see what happens. Then, as I mentioned previously, we signed Tony Parker, and I think it was an odd signing for sure, because it's going to be weird seeing Tony Parker outside of that Spurs jersey. But in terms of his overall talent, I think this is going to be great for the Hornets because he's a decent offensive player. He's not a very good shooter, but he's a good drive and kick player. So, if we can get some shooters off the bench, like I know that we have some shooters on the bench, this could be a very good pick. Then we got Bismack Biyombo back. We drafted him in the same year we drafted Kemba Walker. He went to Toronto, then to Orlando. Then we traded him for the pieces we acquired for Dwight Howard. So, I think this is an interesting trade, to say the least. It'll be interesting to see what Bismack does now that he's back in Charlotte. He's not going to be one of those, players that's really going to make a huge impact, considering we have, I believe, 4 centers on the roster right now. But, it'll be interesting to see how we use him. I think he might be our third string center. So then the subtractions, Dwight Howard, as I heard and as I read, Dwight was a locker room problem. So, we had to get him out of there. He's a good talent, but it just seems like everywhere he's gone since he left Orlando, there have been problems in the locker room. I mean, just look back to Los Angeles, him and Kobe, then Houston, him and Harden, then Atlanta. Once he got traded to Charlotte, there were reports that every player in the Hawks locker room were cheering. And then, of course, as soon as Mitch Kupchak came and joined the Hornets, he shipped him right off to Brooklyn, and now he's on his way to the Wizards. So it'll be interesting to see. I think if you go back probably 5 or 6 years, I'd probably laugh at you if you said that Dwight Howard was being moved so much over the past couple years. Then we also lost Timofey Mozgov. He's on the Orlando Magic. Not a big loss. Didn't even play a game with us. Julian Stone, he's also on the Chicago Bulls now. We gave him up in that trade to get Bismack. Not very big losses. And then Michael Carter-Williams going to the Rockets. Again, not a very big loss. He was not a very good backup point guard for us last year. So I'm looking at the Hornets' potential lineup. We got Kemba Walker at the point guard. Now at shooting guard, I heard this year they're going to be playing Nick Batum back at his traditional position of small forward, which I like because MKG provides no offensive punch whatsoever. So it'll be good that we can maybe have an offensive lineup. So I think they'll honestly go with Malik Monk at shooting guard. I could also see them maybe putting Jeremy Lamb there, but I think they'll go with Monk just because I know that Steve Clifford was kind of against giving the younger players minutes, but I think they'll really go with Monk because he's shown some promise. Maybe Batum at small forward, Marvin Williams, who's a good 3-and-D type of player at power forward, and Cody Zeller, who's a great defensive center at the center position. Then off the bench, Jeremy Lamb, one of the most dynamic scorers for our team last year, Tony Parker, Miles Bridges, and then the 2 players down low, Frank Kaminsky and Willie Hernan Gomez. So, the Hornets have a solid lineup, and in the weaker Eastern Conference, they could make the playoffs. But, I just think that there's some other teams that have more talent and more experience than the Charlotte Hornets. So, the thing that I look out for is, I hate to say it, but a Kemba Walker trade. As much as I love Kemba, and Kemba definitely will go down as the best player to play for our franchise, I believe, unless we draft some just monster in the upcoming years. He definitely has a lot of value, and I don't know if the Hornets are going to want to sign him next year. I know Mitch Kupchak said he wanted to be a Hornet for life, or that he wants him to be a Hornet for life. But if we've seen anything with with how the Clippers handled Blake Griffin, anything's possible. I don't really know who would trade for Kemba. I know every team in the NBA would want somebody like him, that dynamic guard. But we'll just have to wait and see. But keep on the lookout for some Kemba Walker trade rumors, probably around the deadline. Anyways, guys, this has been my 21st ranked team in my 2018 through 2019 NBA season preview. Next time, we'll go on to my 20th ranked team. See you guys then.